What's going on, guys? It's your average consumer, and today we're checking out something different. This is the Cosmos Laser 4K, and huge shout out to Nebula for sponsoring today's video and sending this thing out to us. It is a crazy portable projector that we got a lot to talk about. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Nebula, they're one of Anchor's subdivisions. This is their projector department, and you guys know Anchor. We've covered a ton of their tech on the channel, as well as every other tech channel on YouTube. But today we're checking out the Cosmos Laser 4K. But before we get into it, let's talk about what you get in the box. Now, you get some pretty standard packaging here. You can see the projector on the front, and in the back you get some specs and different features that this thing is capable of. But let's talk about what's inside. Once you pop the box open, you're of course greeted by the projector itself. Underneath that, you get the accessories box where you'll find your remote, paperwork, the power cable, some batteries for the remote, as well as the 4K streaming dongle. So inside the box, you pretty much get everything you need to get up and running. But now let's talk about the actual projector. But here it is, guys. This is the Cosmos Laser 4K, and I gotta say, this is a pretty good looking projector, if I do say so myself. It's got a pretty nice color scheme going for it. I'm a fan of the red accents, but you don't typically see a projector in this kind of form factor. But this is, like I said, a movable projector where you can pretty much take this from one space to another, whether you want to take it to different rooms in your home, or if you want to take it outdoors or even someone else's house. You got that flexibility, and it's pretty easy to take this thing around. And this thing is pretty simple looking, but let's do a quick tour around the actual projector. So of course, up front you have your bulb, and you see the little 4 circles around it, which are various sensors and what looks like even a camera. So it can do auto keystoning, so you don't have to do any crazy setups for it. We'll talk more about that a little bit later, but this makes it a very easy to use projector in terms of the setup process. Now in the back, you've got your port for your power cable, HDMI, USB, and an aux port. So if you wanna add some additional speakers to it, you'll be able to do that. But what's interesting is this latch right here, you actually have your 4K streaming dongle. This is pretty much the brains. This thing is running Android TV. So once you pop this in, you'll have access to that Android TV and all of the streaming capabilities of the Cosmos. So I like this. I think it's a pretty interesting take. Instead of just having it all built into it, you can maybe swap it out in the future if Nebula plans on doing upgrades of some sort, or I don't know, but there are some really cool possibilities there with this being something that's removable. So I think that's pretty dope, but actually between the ports and the dongle, you have your IR sensor over here. Now, why this is important is because depending on the position of the projector, whether it's in front of you or behind you, it'll have IR sensors so that it can speak to the remote with no problem. So you don't have to like do one of these weird numbers. You can just use it however you want to. And when you take a quick look at the bottom, you can see it's got these long rubberized feet. So if you have it on like a desk or a table or something, it's not gonna move around. And since it's a 10-pound projector, you know it's gonna stay in place. But what's also nice is the addition of this 1/4-inch thread. So if you wanna mount this thing on a stand of some sort, you'll be able to do that as well to give you a little bit more flexibility. So for a movable projector, I feel like these are all very necessary. And on the sides here, you got your speakers. So this thing comes with 2 10-watt speakers as well as 2 5-watt tweeters. So it gives you a total of 30 watts. And last but not least, we've got our power button up top and some touch capacitive buttons. So if you want to change your volume or go into your settings, you have access to pretty much everything right at the top of the projector. Well, we talked about the body, but what about the specs? What are you actually getting from this? Well, it's laser powered, which is really important when it comes to the quality. It's 4K, supports HDR10, has auto keystoning, auto focus, which makes life really easy. But what's great is that this thing supports up to 150 inches, which is massive, and it has 2400 lumens. With that kind of brightness, you'll be able to have this playing even during the daytime. Now, we did mention that this is a laser projector. Now, why is that important? Well, of course, you're gonna get a boost in quality. Even a 1080p laser projector looks better than a 4K non-laser projector. So now we all know 4K is better than 1080p, but when you change up the technology and add laser, kind of shifts things a bit. But with this being both 4K and laser, we should see some pretty high quality. Not to mention it's more environmentally friendly because it's more energy efficient, not as power hungry, which is great because this thing is 2400 lumens, which is really bright, and I think the highest out there when it comes to movable projectors. Okay, so I feel like we talked a lot about it. Should we just turn it on? Ari, what you think?
Yeah, I've been waiting for that.
All right, let's do this. We can put this anywhere. It's movable. Okay. This is very small, but this is small too, so it works. I guess our setup is done. We just threw it on a table and we're kind of good to go. Now, that's one of the benefits of this guy. It has the auto keystoning, auto focus, so it's got a super simple setup process. Ari, remember how long it took us to set up the projector in the basement?
Oh yeah, it was torture.
It's the worst.
You still have to like mess with
I'm like climbing the chairs, trying to fix it up top. Well, this kind of takes away all of that. No adjusting, no need to do anything yourself. So if you're not some projector expert, you can still use this with no problem and get the best image. What's nice is like, this isn't even really set up to look good on the wall, but what it does is it'll automatically keystone and give us the best image. And what's also cool is that it avoids corners. So you can see it cuts off right where it needs to, so we get the full screen right on the wall. Now let's actually put this in a decent spot so that we give it the best shot. So you guys can see for yourselves, got a pretty simple setup process. Now, let's take a look at some videos and see how the quality goes. Now, one thing I want to note, guys, I don't think you can miss it, but we've got a lot of windows here all over. This is actually the worst case scenario for any projector, but you guys can pretty much just see what's on the wall. It looks really good. So let's actually pull up one of our videos and look at that. That looks clean.
That looks really good.
Considering just how much light is being poured into this room, this is actually really clean and it's sharp. This is impressive. And this is where the laser aspect of it comes in. You get that nice, bright, sharp image and it works fine even during daylight. So Nebula actually states that this should be good enough to use in a room with lights on. And with this amount of light in the room right now, I believe it. Now, what do you mean take it up a notch?
Oh, the window shades.
Bring up the shades?
Yeah.
I feel like that's not fair, but that is not bad.
Still handles it pretty well.
Considering the fact that this is like direct light onto this white wall, this is handling that really well. So with those kind of claims, I believe it. Yeah, you can still see a lot of detail in the shot. That's impressive. Now back to normal, since some people want to get crazy. But just taking a look at this, guys, from a quality perspective, this is actually really impressive. If you can see all the different shades of black on my sweater, from the little logo in the middle to the backpack, the sweater itself, there's a lot of different blacks and you can still see all the details, all the ridges in my cuff. It's actually really surprising considering, I feel like I keep harping on it, but just considering the environment. Now, it does have built-in speakers. Let's put that up. All the stuff that I have with me. That's the max. So speakers are passable. Yeah, I mean, this is not blaring loud or anything like that, but it does the job. If you're trying to hear your content, you'll hear it. But it also does have the aux port in the back, so if you want to add an external speaker, they've actually even got a setting. You can see it's got a Bluetooth speaker mode. So if you want to go ahead and add any external speaker system, you'll be able to do that. But like I said before, this thing is running Android TV. So you do have access to a ton of applications. You have access to your Google Assistant. Pretty much anything that you would expect from the Android TV system, you'll have access to here. And it runs through it all pretty quickly. So you guys are seeing the benefits of this being a laser projector from just this quality right here. Now you might have heard of laser TVs before. Those are pretty much stationary versions. This is pretty cool because you can pretty much move it to wherever you want. And laser TVs are usually far more expensive. So it's a pretty huge price difference considering the fact that you still get really good image quality here, and this thing is way more portable. Not to mention, you can get this thing up to 150 inches. Because a laser TV will run you $3,500 to $5,000, whereas the Cosmos Laser, which is, I believe, the 1080p version of this, costs only $16.99. This particular one is $21.99. So compared to $3,500 or $5,000, it's a huge difference. So from a quality perspective, like, I'm not mad at this at all. I think it looks pretty good. It's really impressive. I think for somebody who maybe wants a home theater feel or vibe, but don't necessarily want to have a full-blown setup for it, this is a pretty good option since you can move it around. I'll of course have links to this guy down below in the description. And Nebula is actually doing a pretty crazy giveaway where they're giving away over $500,000 in prizes. So if you do pick one up, you'll be entered into those giveaways. You guys can see all the details right here on the screen. There are a ton of prizes available, even some more of these projectors. So you guys go ahead and check that out down below. But you guys let me know what you think of the Cosmos Laser 4K. Nebula's doing some pretty interesting stuff now. But that about wraps it up for this video, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, it's your average consumer. Peace. We should take this to our room, Ari.
You can stay right there.
I tried.